Welcome to The Left Turn. I'm Dave Kaus, and this is my co-host tonight, Torey Philipp, where we're everything and anything about cycling in Northern California and beyond. So the rides are still happening, actually at noon on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It is the noon ride from Discovery Park off of Garden Highway. Actually 30 plus riders this last Tuesday, Torey. It was actually kind of fast and kind of fun. Remember, try not to overlap wheels. If you don't know where you're going, sit back and watch these people. They'll direct you in the right way. And above all else, please introduce yourself. Now, Torey, when we're talking about riding your bike, especially in inclement weather like rain, do you think it's important to wash your bike after every ride, especially if it's in the rain?
Incredibly important. If you even let it sit for one day, your chain, your cassette, your chain rings, it's all going to be rusty and just ends up adding money later on.
So make sure that you hose your bike down, or at least, get some of that mud off and maybe clean it off a little later. But I don't recommend letting mud or any grit or anything stick on it because, like Torey said, it's really hard to get off.
And it looks unprofessional as well.
Exactly. Remember to dress warm out there. It's getting colder. It's now 60 and below. The river rides are still happening at 10 a.m. from City Bicycle Works. The B ride starts at 9:45. The A ride is 10 a.m. Torey, any rides up in the hills that you can tell our viewers about?
There's some really good ones going on right now. I know Data Driven Athlete, they do a group ride on Sundays frequently. I've been thinking about maybe starting my own ride potentially on Sunday, 3-4 hours in the hills. Some of the classic routes like Salmon Falls, Prospector.
Oh, excellent.
Some good climbs.
Those are
Get
some
people
old
ready
school
for
rides.
2018.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, that sounds great. So for more information for all of these topics, you can go to www.theleftturn.org. Now, I'm going to go straight into an interview with Mr. Torey Philipp here because this young man has a lot of history in Sacramento. Torey, can you tell us about yourself a little bit?
Well, introduced to cycling when I was around 13 years old. Saw it on TV one day and looked like a lot of fun and just tried to pursue it. I wasn't very athletic at the time, so this kind of got me outside, which made my parents really happy because they didn't want me to be a couch potato.
Tell me about your racing outlook for next year.
So next year, probably be a similar program to what I was on last year with Herbalife 24. Probably racing Redlands, Cascade Classic. Cascade has always been a big goal of mine. I'd love to go back this year and do well there. I think top 20 is totally possible. But just kind of see how it goes. It's getting smaller, trying to race as a domestic elite rider. Not a lot of races to do. Money's not really there, but you try to make the most of it. Most importantly, just have fun.
Right, and can you tell me about some of your other teammates that you've raced with in the past couple of years? Do you like racing with these guys at Herbalife 24?
Yeah, it's a really great group of guys. You can hang out with them on the bike, off the bike. We always keep in touch. We have, through our team, a little group chat, and half of it is just total nonsense, but we all get along great, and it's good to see. I mean, you can't do a team sport if you don't like your teammates.
So do you do anything outside of cycling with your teammates, i.e. hiking or anything else like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Gone on hikes with teammates. I'm really into photography, so I'm always looking for new spots to go, and it's always a lot more fun with people. And then just the little things too, go grab beers with them, especially in the off season. It's kind of the whole beer season. Got to enjoy what you can't enjoy during the race year.
Right. Now,
all in moderation, of course.
You're talking about off season. Tell us a little bit about your plan for the off season, because you're not totally on the bike all the time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially with this time of year, the inclement weather that Sacramento sometimes gets, but last year was definitely a bit of a wet year for sure. I think too, like just changing it up, running, hiking, any of that. It's important because bikes, if you just do it all the time, it can kind of lose your passion.
Okay. And when we're also talking about off season, when you're, as well as during the season, nutrition, like do you always watch what you eat? Is there certain things that you rather eat than others that make you feel faster? I mean, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's usually the first few weeks of off season is kind of when you let loose, indulge in all the things. Okay. Not necessarily bad foods, but stuff you stay away from during the race year. So it's normal to put on a few pounds for sure in that period of time.
Right.
But
okay,
you just got to live a little.
So when you're talking about, maybe some things to indulge in, a guest that we had on the previous show, Mr. Mike Mraz, I'm pretty sure you know him quite well. Tell us how you got introduced to Mr. Mraz.
So he's actually happens to be my boss. Got into brewing there a couple years ago now. Been, almost 2 years.
Okay. And is there anything you can tell us about what's new with Mraz? Anything that you're brewing specifically?
Specifically for me, nothing too new, but we actually just added 2 new fermenters, so which will increase the capacity a little bit and hopefully let us try some new styles of beers.
Okay. And how did you meet Mike Mraz? I guess that's the question probably everybody's going to want to know.
Yeah, that's actually goes hand in hand with what we're talking about with the cycling and off season. I needed something to do other than just ride my bike, and I found homebrewing to be a really fun activity. So kind of got maybe too far into that, as some of us do, and then it got to the point where I was bringing my beers by the brewery and getting some insight from Mike, seeing what he thought of the beers. And one day I went there, and one of their brewers happened to leave, I think about a week before I went in, and they needed some help around with a bottling day, so I figured why not just show up, help out, just kind of get my foot in the door. And within a week later I was helping on the brew days and been there since.
So you do realize that you pretty much have the best job in the world. You work 2 jobs. You ride a bike and you get to brew beer, 2 things that go together that pretty much everybody,
exactly, you really can't complain about
right?
it. It's
so is there any funny stories you can tell us about Mr. Mraz? Anything funny that's happened at the brewery?
Probably the funniest thing is I've turned him into a major cycling fanatic. I like to feel like I'm a part of that big change in his life. I don't know how many mountain bikes he's bought now, but he's gotten really into it, and also a big nerd on the Strava. He's always looking at all the segments.
This time of the year, with it being a little bit colder, how do you dress when you're out there riding?
Oh, you've got to bundle up for sure. You can always pull layers off, but especially on these cold mornings you got to keep those knees covered. You don't want tendinitis. I've had it years before, and it's can kind of ruin a good part of your season if you don't get it looked after.
Thank you very much, Torey.
Thank you.
I really do appreciate it. For more information on our show about anything and everything about cycling in Northern California and beyond, visit our website, www.thelefturn.org, or you can go to our Facebook page, actually, The Left Turn. So I'm going to take a left turn here. I'm going to talk about clothing. I've got Josh with Vi 13 here. Josh, can you tell us a little bit about Vi 13?
Yeah, Vi 13 is a high-performance apparel manufacturer. We do custom clothing specifically. We have minimal amounts of retail available that we offer to our clients, but we focus mostly on custom apparel for our high-performance apparel athletes.
Excellent. And so you brought some samples today. Can we go over those a little bit, kind of show our viewers?
You know, being that this is a winter season moving into cross season, we brought specifically some high performance and actually one casual item for the winter season. You know, it's very important, like we talked about earlier, to stay warm, keeping those elbows, knees, and hands warm, especially in that sub 60-degree temperature. So what I've got here is actually we have our wool materials. Specifically, it's a merino wool, which is of the highest class material that you can get. The wool is specifically designed to create that space from the wind and create that wind stop material from the wind, but allow moisture to exit the body and to exit so you're not saturated in your own sweat kind of thing, which is actually, merino wool is also designed to be a water barrier. So it's actually waterproof from external water to allow heat and moisture away still.
Interesting, because me feeling this right now, I wouldn't think that this is waterproof.
Yeah,
at least to the outside element.
The typical thing is, you know, once wool gets wet, is it gets really saturated, it gets heavy, and then it holds that temperature in. But this merino wool actually sheds the water away from the body while still releasing heat and moisture from the body. Our gloves specifically do the same thing. We actually are partnered with Defeat, the sock company. Right. We're one of the only manufacturers that work with Defeat that offers the non-seamed weave, or like a round weave, as well as our gloves have a copper metallic style interface into the gloves, so you can still use your cell phones and you can still work with your tablets and such while you ride.
So Josh, what else do you have for us?
So the second item I've got here is our winter caps. This is designed to be worn while you ride. This is designed to be worn under your helmet comfortably. We've actually developed this with a Move Up, which is a team based out of Texas, I believe. We designed this in the idea of their cross team. So this is the Move Up off-road team that we designed this. This has the thinnest fleece on the market, dual-sided or folded. It's only 0.1 millimeters thick. It's the thinnest fleece available on the market. The idea, very, very similar to like a down comforter, is to create that insulation barrier so that still allow heat to exit away from the body, to flow through the two membranes and then pull that heat away without allowing wind in.
And the price point on that, Josh?
So to be honest, because it's a custom apparel company, it depends on the amount of units ordered. So 1 to 4 items, 5 to 9 items. It depends on the price breakdown, but anywhere between $25 and $38 a hat. If you order more, obviously you pay less. So yeah, it works anywhere between $25 and $38 an item.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, it reminds me of the old school caps back in the 80s.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's fantastic. I love that you guys are coming out with those. Now, what's the last item you have for us?
So the last item is technically it's a casual item.
Okay.
This is our completely goose down, highest quality down comforter style material, down material that we offer. This is our vest. This is fully sublimatable. Every item or every panel on this entire jacket front to back or vest front to back is fully sublimatable. This is actually a prototype that we developed about 3 months ago.
Wow.
If you notice, the side panels are actually made with a nylon, a woven nylon, and the bottom is made with a woven nylon. But the one that we just released for 2018 to all of our custom apparel teams that we're using now have a 300 GSM thickness fleece elastane. So the same gripper that's on your leg and on your arm, which is the elastane, the Italian material, has actually been backed with a fleece to keep the wind and keep the temperatures away, as well as is fully sublimatable. So not only does it have the standard 3 pockets like a cycling jacket or a cycling jersey does, but it also has 2 side pockets hidden away, and on the inside, on the front, and then on the inside, on both sides, it has 2 more tuck pockets.
Jeez.
And again, this is the highest quality of down that you can get. It actually requires a particular certificate, an import certificate, when we import it in to produce.
And if you want to find out the price on this wonderful item, guess what? You have to go to our website, www.thelefturn.org. And by the way, I know a few Swanniers that may want this at Quick Step.
Yeah,
So, will this fit me? Can I take
absolutely. It's a large, man. It'll fit you. It fits me, but it's real comfortable.
See ya.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a real comfortable. It's a multi-fit again because it's got the side panels that stretch. It's a very versatile jacket or very versatile vest. And if you go to either thelefturn.org or contact me, Woody at vi13.com, you can tell them that you saw the Left Turn segments, and we can get you that 13% off for Vi13. We'll offer you the 13% off on your first custom apparel order.
And that makes a big difference, believe you me. Yeah. Thanks again, Woody, for coming in. And
Thank you,
I look
Dave.
forward to you coming on again for more products.
Absolutely.
Welcome to Left Turn, where we're anything and everything about cycling in NorCal and beyond. Tonight, we're actually going world tour. I'm here with Nielson Palace from Rockland, Roseville, California. This young man here has done quite a bit in a very short amount of time. Nielson, great to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, David.
Tell us a little bit how you got into cycling.
Yeah, I mean, short answer is both my parents were professional triathletes, and they got me and my sister into triathlons at a super young age. And natural progression, as we got older, got involved in a bunch of different endurance sports, and sort of gravitated towards cycling, and really started giving it full 100% effort about 3 years ago in road cycling. Mm-hmm. Before that, I'd raced mountain bikes. Before that, I raced triathlons. But yeah, now road is my thing.
Excellent, excellent. You know, there's a lot of viewers out there that are continually watching your progress. Tell us a little bit about the team you were on for the past couple of years, Action.
Yeah, Action Hoggins Berman was probably the best team I could have hoped to be on in order to get myself ready for the World Tour. And I mean, it's run by Axel Merckx, son of cycling legend Eddie Merckx.
Right.
So, you know, can't really have a better mentor than that. And, you know, taught me a lot, gave me a lot of opportunities. And yeah, I mean, that was hugely, massively instrumental in getting me to where I am now.
So in 2016, when you were racing for Action Higgins Berman, tell us about the Tour of California. What was going through your mind when you got the Best Young Rider jersey, and how you felt during the entire race?
Yeah, I mean, that race was really a whirlwind, and it's what really set me off on my really realistic aspirations of making the World Tour. Obviously, I was super nervous before the race, just understanding that I was going to be competing against guys that I watched on TV. I mean, Brad Wiggins was in the race, and Philipp was in the race, and yeah, just massive cycling stars nowadays. And I was intimidated, but before the race, actually I had a conversation with one of my older cycling mentors, Larry Nolan, and he just basically told me it's just a bike race, and still everybody puts their number on and expects to show up and race their bikes, and we were a part of that. So basically just took it one stage at a time, and Axel was really instrumental in being the guiding mentor needed to sort of give us the lowdown on what he thought was going to happen during the day, and what we were expected to do, which was very little because we were the kids team. Nobody really expected a whole lot out of us, and then until they did, I guess, because just really set off on stage 3, I guess, on Gibraltar Road, and really showed everybody that we were there to race too. I was a realistic threat for the GC as well, and that confidence just built on itself, and here I am.
That's fantastic. Yeah. I know that we have a mutual friend that lives in town, Evan Huffman. Do you talk to him often in races when you see him, if you do see him, and do you guys ever plan anything together? Or is it just kind of like you work with your own team and he works with his own team, and if you guys happen to be in a breakaway, it's like whatever? Like, does that ever happen? Has it ever happened before?
Yeah, I mean, we're super friendly in a race, but at the same time, we are competitors. He's on rally, and I'm on Action Higgins Berman, and we have to understand that we're both trying to get a win for our team, and Evan's an incredibly strong guy, so I mean, he's always a rider that I'm looking at, and even if a lot of other World Tour teams who are coming to America maybe for the first time don't really recognize Evan, I recognize him, and I understand what he's capable of, and some other teams may not, and I don't think I have actually been in a breakaway with Evan yet, but if I was, I'd be very happy with it, because I know how strong Evan is.
Right, he's incredibly strong.
Yeah.
So let's switch from the World Tour thing. Let's go to your training in the off season. Let's talk a little bit about how you prepare for next season now that you're going to be riding the World Tour. What are you doing now? Like, what kinds of things have you changed anything with your training with Action to now you have to train for World Tour because it's a little bit more demanding? Like, let's kind of go through that a little bit.
Yeah. So obviously the World Tour racing calendar is much longer than what I've been used to in the past, and that's just natural when you move up. You're racing sometimes from January through October, close to November, and that's a long racing season. And what I've been used to in the past is normally from February or March until early September, but now it's being extended 2-3 months, and that's definitely something you have to pay attention to when you're starting your winter training. I took a bit of a longer off season this year to really like reset, and also go to make some trips to Europe to visit the team and do fittings, and do physical assessments and all that kind of stuff that comes along with moving into the World Tour. And but just being mentally ready for when it starts. It's a full-time job. Core stretching, the hours are definitely going to be quite a bit longer this winter, which I'm actually looking forward to. And at the moment, this is actually my first week having structured training. And so I mean, doing a bit of running, bit of rock climbing actually.
Oh,
and
wow.
Starting riding, and then also doing quite a bit of one-on-one core sessions with Mike Sayers down in Die Endurance. And love going there 2-3 times a week now, and I think that's going to be huge in just injury prevention and the longevity that I'll be able to hold my form for the entire season.
Excellent, excellent. And nutrition-wise, if you're putting this much demand on your body now, and I mean, there's a lot more now. Like, what kind of nutrition are you looking at? Like, what do you typically do on a day like that?
Yeah, I mean, it varies day to day depending on what you're doing. I mean, typically after every workout, try to get recovery drink in, get good amount of balance between protein and carbohydrates to replenish what you've lost. And normally fairly light breakfast, nothing too crazy because I mean, you're eating on the bike, so and you don't want to have too heavy of a stomach when you're out training, especially if you have efforts, because getting sick on the bike is never fun. But I mean, in general, just having a healthy diet. I don't really count calories. I just go based off of feel. I know when I'm satiated, but don't want to be stuffing myself all the time, obviously. But this coming season, our team will be, I think, having a lot of the athletes work with a nutritionist that is employed by the team, and so I'll start to have some communication with him in the coming weeks. But not sure what that's going to look like quite yet because I've never had to deal with that. But I'll update you when I find out.
And most everybody speaks English on the team.
I mean,
which is good.
It's a Dutch team, and they would like me to learn a bit of Dutch, but everybody speaks English very well, and time to whip out Duolingo.
So, Neilson, we understand that you've signed with the World Tour team, Lotto Jumbo. Can you take us through the process of being invited to signing all the way through to now you are a rider for the team?
It's an exciting but stressful process at the same time. It was good and bad. It was a good and bad problem, I guess, having a stressful situation in terms of signing, because I was talking to a few different teams, and it was basically just coming down to which team I thought would be the best option for my future development. Because even though I'm in the World Tour now, there's still massive amounts of development that needs to be made. I mean, Lotto was giving me, clear instruction on as to how I was going to make that happen and what my next 4 years would basically hope to look like, and felt really comfortable with that. But for the longest time, you just dream over just getting noticed and having conversations with World Tour teams. And then the past couple months, up until last month, really, I was getting calls by team owners, and it was just blowing me away. I mean, luckily I had some incredible help from both my parents and from my agents, the Fairley Group. And Alex and Caleb Fairley, they really helped me in terms of like mediating the amount of communication that I had to be a part of in the teams, and also leaving me out of negotiating money, because that's always a touchy subject, especially when you're a new guy. So I didn't even go into that. That's they handled all that, and then it was pretty much up to me to decide which team I felt most comfortable with. And I mean, it's crazy. After California in 2016, that's really what sparked everything, and started getting some real interest from a lot of different teams. And basically up until a week prior, I thought making the World Tour was something way off in the distance that I wasn't sure was going to happen yet. But then once you get to that point, you realize, wow, I guess it wasn't as far off as I thought it was going to be, because then you really see what it takes to get noticed. And I mean, it was a process for sure. Years, I mean, ever since I was super young, dreaming of becoming a professional cyclist, watching Tour California when I was in elementary school. And but when it finally happens, it's pretty surreal.
Neilson, where do you like to train? Any favorite routes, rides, roads, etc. out there you like to go?
So training out of Roseville, it's nice to kind of get that feeling of escape. So I really like to get out into like Georgetown or Placerville, out past Auburn. Normally riding through Auburn almost every day to as a gateway to get into the mountains, deeper into the mountains. Like Highway 49, 193. Train in Lincoln and Newcastle quite a bit as well. I like the Newcastle area, but the further out, the further I can get towards Tahoe, the better. So obviously the longer days are more enjoyable because then you can hit roads that I don't hit every day. But yeah, in general, just anywhere towards Tahoe is pretty beautiful.
Awesome. You ever hit the river ride? Because our viewers are probably gonna want to know that.
Yeah, I try. I mean, the past 2 years, I hit the river ride at least every other week on Saturday, and I'm hoping to do the same this winter. I mean, I think it's a super useful tool in just keeping your skills sharp during the winter, just because a lot of the times you can, when you go from October to March without riding in a group, it can be kind of dangerous in your first couple of races. So I think it's actually necessary to go out on some group rides throughout the winter just to keep your skills sharp. And it's also nice to get a little bit of intensity because throws in a bit of that competition aspect to your training, which you don't always get when you're alone. And so yeah, I think the river ride is pretty awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk about something fun here. You recently did some commercials for Seasucker bicycle racks out of Sarasota, Florida. Tell us about your relationship with them, and did you enjoy doing the commercials? What do you think about the rack? Those sort of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think Seasucker is one of the more ingenious inventions in the past, at least that I've seen in the past few years. And I mean, they've been around quite a bit longer than that, but as far as long as I've been involved with them since 2016, it's been pretty amazing. You know, I've tested out a few of their racks, and just it's pretty incredible. Just like the portability and like the just in general, like the general strength of the racks is incredible. And I mean, from what I've been told, each suction cup holds up to like 500 pounds or something. And on my little, just like the suction on the rack that holds one bike, it's got like 4 suction cups on it, and like that's, I mean, a bike weighs what, like 10 pounds. So you got like 2,000 pounds of strength holding down a 10-pound bike. That thing's not coming off.
Yeah,
so.
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
and the commercials that you did, people can see them online. I mean, what do you think about those commercials when you were asked to do the certain things? I mean, it was kind of funny watching you try to pull on the van, etc. I mean, it seemed kind of neat. Was it a fun experience for you to do those commercials? Yeah,
that was pretty sweet. You know, it's the first time I'd ever done any sort of commercial like that. And I mean, they had the whole film crew out, and it was a really professional experience. I had no idea what to expect when I showed up, but when I came, it was a super fun time, you know, just messing around like.
Dude, it's never coming off.
I mean, me hanging off the back of the car wasn't the original idea, but they told me to yank on it a little bit, and then they were like, "Oh, that could work," and it ended up being a pretty funny scene. But I had a bunch of friends from high school, and a bunch of their parents were just like messaging me over Facebook and stuff, and like, "Hey, we just saw you on TV," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's."
So Neilson, if there was somebody out there that was, you know, riding quite a bit, was an amateur cyclist, and they wanted to become a pro, what would you say? What would be some tips you would give them?
Yeah, I mean, I would really just say hard work and dedication really pays off in cycling. Cycling is one of those sports that not always the most naturally gifted athletes are going to succeed. You know, it takes a lot of dedication and hard work, and for the most part, like, I mean, 3 years ago, I almost didn't have a team to race for, and then, you know, sort of last minute got on a team, and really had to work hard to establish my position. And once that happened, you know, it builds on itself. And so yeah, I mean, firstly, when you're young, have fun with it. When you think you're ready, get a coach, and really dedicate yourself to it, and great things can happen.
Agreed. I know your parents have been a huge supporter of everything you've done, and you know, I just want to say hats off to you guys for producing such a fantastic athlete. He's an amazing individual. Thank you very much, Neilson, for coming out. I do appreciate it. I will see you out there.
Thanks, David.
For more information on any of our products, i.e. Seasucker, Vi13, Defeat Socks, anything, visit our website at www.thelefturn.org. We'll see you next time. Thanks for visiting.